Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a video for the Mercury retrograde that we are in, which I consider as the most potent Mercury retrograde of 2025 that is shifting so much in us and in our lives to prepare ourselves for the potent new year 2026. This Mercury retrograde is important because during this Mercury retrograde, this Mercury aligns with all the planets, including all the outer planets. And then also this Mercury, the highlight of this Mercury retrograde happens during this during the next new moon, Scorpio new moon, where the sun and moon and Mercury Kazemi have to come together under the new moon. Mercury Kazemi happens, which is really potent and special and rare cosmic event. So this is an important Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is the time. Not only Mercury is in retrograde right now, though, in November, right? Saturn is in retrograde, Neptune is in retrograde, Uranus is in retrograde, and then Mercury went retrograde, and as well as Jupiter. Jupiter is going retrograde on November 11th. So that's 5 planetary bodies in retrograde in November, even though by the end of the month, Saturn goes direct and Mercury goes direct on the 29th of November. So that's just this month. But when a lot of planets are in retrograde, that is the time when we can realign and readjust our focus for realignment, right? It's the reevaluation. Through reevaluation, through reflection, we are reflecting back this year 2025 and how far we've come. But this is the month where we are being really invited to be reflective and receptive and be patient. This Mercury retrograde invites us to be patient because this is kind of a time where we are kind of dismantling, per se, this dissolving, right? This is the time that we kind of want to dissolve back to the earth or back to ether, back to the cosmos, to release our sense of self or our attachment to this self, this body, this ego, this all the wanting and yearning and wishing and planning and regretting and all those things of associated with life on earth. This is a compost time. That's how I feel about this November. This is the shedding of a skin time. A snake, this is the final metamorphosis point, transformation point. We cannot move fast. We cannot go through that process of alchemical metamorphosis while we are rushing and pushing ourselves to go somewhere and trying to plan everything and trying to figure everything out. No, when we go through that process, we have to wait and be patient and let things to unfold and dismantle, dissolve, and die rather than us pushing to make something happen. And because of a powerful groundwater trine present with us right now, when we become patient and when we let our mind be still, through that kind of commitment to our spiritual spirit or spiritual practice or whatever, when we be patient and become still, our like dimensions of our consciousness can expand so that we can see something that we were not able to see before. When we are actively thinking and figuring out and trying, pushing, we are just so limited in that mental perception of things, and our mind feels being rushed and feels like it's always under that pressure of luck or like I'm not there yet mentality, right? Our ego, it always rushes us and always pushes us. But when we go, when we do not follow the compulsion of our own ego, but choose to be still and wait and listen to our own spirit through stillness, again, our mind expands. When that dimensions of consciousness expands, and it's almost like our third eye expansion kind of energy, right? Through that God's eye vision, we receive this insight or ideas or some kind of like revelation, right? It starts to reveal some kind of answers to us, not through us pushing and seeking to find an answer, but through the voice of God, through that stillness that we receive. And in that kind of patience and honoring, slow movement, just moving like a snake and peeling off this old senses of attachments and all those kind of things are very important. This month, this Mercury retrograde, our commitment should be like plugging our root to the earth and our crown or our essence to the source, and really be patient and also trust, have faith and complete trust in the perfection of the source, how the source is perfect, how the creator is perfect, how the universe is perfect, everything is perfect, creation itself is perfect, the earth, everything, the natural rhythm of cycles of everything is really it holds its own rhythm of perfection. And then if we can trust the rhythm of perfection of God itself, the creator itself, the source itself, then we can trust every aspect of life. We can see every aspect of life as guided and protected and supported by its perfection also. If we can tune into that sense of perfection, then there is no rush, there is no confusion, there is no figuring it out. Everything is happening in the perfect order, and our task, our commitment becomes just be here now and accept everything as a blessing and just do what's being presented in front of us, or keep activating our heart and just follow where our heart spark, right? Whatever it gives us peace and ease and fun and all, all those kind of things is important during this November and during this Mercury retrograde. The big overall kind of dates that I wanted to share about this Mercury retrograde is so on November 9th, Mercury started its retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. And then November 12th, Mercury and Mars are in conjunction at 6 degrees of Sag. This is the second of 3 conjunction that Mercury and Mars are making during this pre-shadow, during the retrograde post-shadow period. Next week, as I'm recording this early in the week, November 17th, Mercury comes to be in sextile with Pluto, because all the outer planets are at the very end degrees of a sign or at the early degrees of a sign. And this Mercury retrograde moves from 6 degrees of Sagittarius up to 20 degrees of Scorpio. So it crosses over those points where all the outer planets are placed, right? Pluto is at 1 degrees of Aquarius. So when Mercury reaches at 1 degrees of Sagittarius, they are in sextile with one another. And then it is the energy to Pluto Mercury. It's always this transformation theme of Pluto, but it can bring up intensity and obsession or some kind of this Pluto Mercury alignment always just brings power to the mind. So we have to use this energy wisely, not to get obsessed to that negative things or worries or fear, but we want to be obsessed with goodness of life, right? That kind of energy is there. And then on Mercury, on November 18th, next week is a big week, because on the 18th of November, Mercury retrogrades back into Scorpio. And then on November 19th, Mercury opposes Uranus. This is the second time of Mercury-Uranus opposition. This is the energy I feel like it's associated with a lot of airplane explosion has been happening on the news, or a lot of air travel delays, because Mercury is that rules travel, and retrograde delays, Uranus explosion, and also Mercury was in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is all about the airplane travel, or long journey travel, right? International travels and things like that. And then Uranus, the planet that is associated with expect the unexpected explosion and earthquake and all those kind of things. So this is the holiday season. We can expect a lot of delays and things not going the way that we expect. So we want to keep cultivating, again, returning back to that theme of patience and trust the divine timing, or trust that kind of a support from that higher realm, rather than getting too anxious and agitated and angry and frustrated, right? So Mercury Uranus opposition, this is the second time. The first time that happened on October 29th, and then there is gonna be the third Mercury Uranus opposition in December. Anyway, after that 19th, November 20th, there is gonna be a new moon, Scorpio new moon, happening at 28 degrees of Scorpio. And on the same day, Mercury dives into the heart of the sun to be revitalized under this Mercury Kazemi. Mercury Kazemi is, during the Mercury retrograde, is the midpoint of the Mercury retrograde, and it is the highlight of that Mercury retrograde. Mercury Kazemi, and when that planet aligns with the heart of the sun, with the chamber of the fire of the sun, it go through that death, rebirth, metamorphosis cycle, especially in Scorpio. The theme of that metamorphosis and alchemy is super potent and high. And under that, Sun, Moon, Mercury, triple conjunction under the new moon 28 degrees of Scorpio. It is a huge revelation moment. It is the moment that we die and reborn anew, and there's no going back. This can hold some kind of a potent medicine that can shift us forever. No more turning back. That kind of strong energy medicine. It can be poisonous, of course, right? Scorpio energy is the energy of the underworld. It is the energy of the depth, the darkness, the shadow, and the the yes, I always think of it as the depth of the dark black hole kind of energy, but within it there is this potent medicine and potent power, raw primordial energy that can be used to shift and make diamond out of that pressure, right? So that kind of energy is here, and we can turn lead into power. We can turn the darkness into that diamond within us, right? It's the time that we want to focus on alchemizing all the shadow that we've been carrying into that crystal light of God and spread love. That kind of energy is there under that new moon. And then after that new moon, this Mercury will go toward that 24 degrees of Scorpio to trine Jupiter at 24 degrees of Cancer, and then trine Saturn as well at 25 degrees of Pisces. Under this new moon also, this energy is very strongly present. So it is just unremarkably powerful mystic magic we are under right now. The veil is thin between this realm and the other realm. We use that term during the eclipse season, but this energy feels like an eclipse. There is this mystic blanket covering over us, and under this like magic cape, invisible cape, like I just thought about the Harry Potter's, the invisible cape. But I'm not talking about that invisibility of it, but we can really go into that hermit archetype, go into that the magic blanket of the cosmos that's covering over us now, and use it to shift something, to make magic deep inside. It's the time to make medicine out of poison, or whatever the alchemy thing that we want to make it happen. We can make it happen with dedication and commitment right now. And then after that, right after that trine with Saturn and Jupiter, Mercury conjunct Venus at the late degrees of Scorpio. That is another very powerful energy. And that Venus, Venus with Mercury, we can make a beautiful story out, right? This is the time that we want to become a creator, singer, dancer, communicator, like whatever way to express new sense of self and shift, any dark stories into a comedy, into laughter, right? It's like Alan Watts. There was Alan Watts's quote: the highest, the true religion is turn something into laughter. I forgot what he says, but like that's life. Life is crazy. Life can be chaotic. Life is traumatic, and there's so many crazinesses going on. But at the same time, life can be very comical and funny and fun and playful and good, right? What we pay attention to, what we focus only expands. So we have to be very creative and decide and choose what we want to give our life into by paying attention to those things, right? And then after that, goes after Mercury Venus conjunction, Mercury goes direct on the 29th, and then there is going to be a full moon in Gemini. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury will be still in post shadow period. So December 4th full moon in Gemini is going to be a culmination point of all the information that we gathered during this Mercury retrograde season, and we may have a lightning spark moment of like, aha, that's why I went through that, or I see more clear of where I should be heading next, or all those kind of things. And even after Mercury goes direct, and then once again Mercury will trine Jupiter and Saturn on December 6th. And once again, Mercury opposes Uranus on December 10th. And Mercury trine Neptune, Mercury sextile Pluto, all those energies that Mercury went through during the retrograde, we are gonna go through again, right? So this process continues in December of reintegration and reforming ourselves through this this process. But this is a very powerful Mercury retrograde period. So this is a time that we want to be curious, we want to be reflective rather than reactive. We want to be more receptive rather than too active, right? We want to keep the remember theme of RE, right? Rather than taking actions, it's time to reflect, but keep taking action internally to keep reshaping ourselves. Shift, think different, act different, respond different, and see different, right? That's using our perceptions and senses differently to rewire our brain and to remember our essence, right? That kind of spiritual commitment to remember who we are. We are the masters, we are the creators, we are the source itself. So we keep through that process of remembering, we keep expanding our conscious field into multidimensional reality, and so that we can keep our energy light and bright and love based, right? Unconditional love and peace based. Yes, anyway. Thank you so much for listening. Much love and wishing you a beautiful retrograde journey. Thank you. Peace.